All right. Save complete. Into the trial. Uh, gosh. Wonder if the jurors are going to be especially annoying today, too. Can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. Near, yeah, okay. Enough reminiscing. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. That's called stress. It's gravity. Oh, it's Britain's highest court. What are you telling me? It's fitted with some kind of device that can actually... No, it's just you're stressed. You're a scientist and you don't know you're stressed. Ah, yes. Well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm counting you today's trial to save my life, to save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous Kinesis machine from being made public. Yes, I understand. I know what I have to do. Yeah, I have to establish that it was an accident. Nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Oh, hi. Mr. Sholmes, go away. That was very mean, Runo, leaving me alone at home with Hurley. It's my job. This is my job. You never... every time I've been like, hey, he should show up. He doesn't show up. I hate this shit. I hate it so much. Like, it's good. Is it? Are you here, Herlock Sholmes? Okay. The more that I'm around this guy, the less I am cool with him because he's just another fucking Natsume. He's just another, I'm gonna freak out every 5 seconds. Like, can we get somebody who can just be normal? So annoying. No, I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany. Oh yes, Rats Magazine is on sale in Germany too. You know, this is how I can tell this game isn't for me, like overall. Because there are people who are probably like, this is so great. No, that shit's annoying. Sorry, not sorry. Like, just get on with it. Stop freaking out every 5 seconds. This month's installment was sublime. I'm pretty sure you do installment with 2 L's, but I could be wrong. The deduction in the Adventures of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes, memorable case indeed. And we're 2 minutes in and I'm already complaining. I'm sorry, YouTube. This really just grinds at you. Still, this is after 3 hours of investigation. I'm not gonna let that die down. Yes, okay, whatever. I don't care what you're tired. That was a speckled bond. Okay, cool. Sorry to disappoint. The wax. Okay. Okay, so we're helping because we have to observe the case. Give it your full attention, Hurley. British spelling, is it? Okay. Life is riddled with irony, you know? Like the irony of you being a great detective after all you do. Pie? What? Quite an insatiable desire for pie. Cool. Okay, so he's coming and he's basically like, I'm gonna watch, but I can't be here long because I have to take care of other stuff and I need money for rent. Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely. I totally understand, except he used like way too many words to explain it. Someone a little starstruck? Starstruck, okay. Wish you the very last of luck today, Professor Hairbrain. No, why, thank you. Cool. Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? It better be important. As you have remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I ought to inform you. As compelling as the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. But what the professor said the demonstration was a success. Yes, it would appear that he fervently believes that it was. I've read Professor Bunnybrain's paper about it too, Runo, and I have to say, I'm sure it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically. He's completely barking up the wrong tree. But how can an experiment that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. Because something's wrong and somebody put something else in there. And it's contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I've no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow. See you later, Hurley. Okay, bye. Get out of here. Well, looks like you're on your own today, Runo, but chin up, you can do it. Oh, what about you, Iris? No, I'm afraid I can't help. I'll have something I need to do. Yeah, it succeeded, but it's an impossibility. Yeah, that's a lot of... Sounds like a lot of bull. It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is. Sounds ominous. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Make your way to the courtroom at once. We're on our way. An experiment that the laws of science say can't possibly succeed. And a scientist who's convinced that it did. That's the rule you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to the case. Cool. Sounds like fun. Okay, I don't care what time it is. Okay, there's... I couldn't tell because it panned too fast. In the name of Her Majesty, the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. Yeah, as usual. 6 months out of practice, and what's more, she's not here. Yeah, without her today, just deal with it. Is it just my imagination? Or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odi Asman. Mr. Asman is well known as a financier, though that was merely a front for his diverse criminal activities. It's only a month ago that the man appeared in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zeeks. But the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. Powerful London criminals are prepared to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. 2 days ago, on October 21st, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? Stop. If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution, the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well, then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord. Okay, you're new. Have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it still shivers down my spine. What are you, Dom? Okay, you're different. Science, experiments, magic, conjuring, tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances. Any spurious scholar defiles the reputation of science deserves to hang. That's a child. We have to listen to one side on both sides of the fence and settle on one. That's it. What the fuck? I hate this already. Hey, isn't that our man? Wake up. No, wait, I think that might be a slightly different one. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. Oh boy, that's the police. Oh, it is. Okay, he looks different without his scarf on. I thought his face was longer. He's as exhausted as ever, it seems. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the incident we're here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turning a nightmare for the spectators. Tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London, no, of the whole world, will be on this trial. It's now our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. So, your opening statements, please, Lord Van Zeeks. At the heart of this incident is the technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. Government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused was described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity and beam them instantly to another location where they are subsequently reassembled. Is such a thing even within the realm of possibility? Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure. Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking! I feel like she'd enjoy that too much. Ah, the whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sorry, I believe you're a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So this expert and Mr. Sholmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What rot? Order. The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant would be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Osman's life in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. But this disastrous demonstration was no accident. Oh, cool. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Oh no, he didn't do that. Cool. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution's stance is clear, but you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. Will the witnesses please come to the stand? Okay, I get it. Bailiff, show them then. I'm gonna be so dramatic. Oh. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. I was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question and in charge of the following investigation. Albert Harebrain, is a scientist. You were born in England, but have been carrying out research in Germany in the recent years, correct? Yes, that's right. After graduating from the university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition. What you demonstrated was incredible, all right. An incredible explosion. But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everyone saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success. Well, that much is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. This was taken inside the Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. That's right, my lord. Seems the victim rammed straight into it. I see. Very well, submit the photograph as evidence. Photograph of the victim, yeah, bye-bye. As the courts heard, the victim of the incident was Mr. Odi Osman. There have been a number of allegations made against the man, but putting them aside for the time being. He was the man who financed the research of the experiment for the demonstration itself. See, so to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct? Exactly. But couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration? That's right! Yeah, it must be at my splendid machine, my poor splendid machine. You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the wreckage thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. What? The wreckage? The wreckage? That being the case, how could the facts be established? How could it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act? Extremely simply, my lord. Beg your pardon? Isn't that right, witness? What? Sorry, me? No, your neighbor. Yes, sir, it was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty. What? How could he possibly think that? Well, he does have the autopsy report. Thank you, Inspector. I think we'd better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. Front for murder. The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. I made minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. No, it couldn't be further from the truth. I have here the experiment plan documentation that was submitted to the security team. Yep. The victim stood himself inside something called the bird cage, ready to be beamed instantly to the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended, which put him, accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word! One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear it was just an accident, a terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like it entered to the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. Okay. I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. The only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist. Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him. Hard to think any otherwise, really. Very well. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Need to focus here. Yeah, it's been a while. Front for murder. Hold it! Okay. Are you suggesting that it's because he fell from a considerable height? Exactly. Which highlights something else about this whole rum business. What's that? The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success. Ah! After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere midair. Okay, well, I'll do this. But honestly, like, I don't really care about achievements and stuff. I just want to get this over with as soon as possible. But I'll do this just to see what this is. Professor Hairbrain, are you hiding something from the court? Oh, is it that? Aha, it's 4. Oh, he ate, okay, he ate paper. Ah, okay. So he's just fucking crazy. What was that? I was calculating the neutralization coefficient of electrical charge required for electrolysis of a human subject. I had to keep the results a secret at all costs, you see. That's why I ate the paper I was working on. But now I've completely forgotten the number. Dear me, I'm a scatterbrain. It's 4. You shouted it. Well, moments before you ate the paper, you did yell at the number 4. No, you know it? You know my secret coefficient? Oh dear, no, this is bad. Oh my goodness. See, that's the thing, Cher. I can tell you were a way bigger fan of this game than me because I just looked at that and I was like, man, this guy's fucking stupid. Like, there's a lot of things I missed because I'm just like, let's just get on with it. Made a minor miscalculation in the angle of my beam projection. That's all. That was my mistake. But the explosion changed it. It wasn't you. So the angle of the projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself? Personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out. Only you got it wrong, didn't you? Well, the explosion. Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. People fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. I took into account the subject's height and weight, wind direction, ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable. So I just don't understand how this could have happened. Obviously, then you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asman was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah! Crackling comets! The answer should have been 3! So much for safety first. Oh, boy. Wait, I don't want to present. I just want to... Well, I guess I can just look. But did I ever actually look at this thing? It definitely is a piece of the machine. Although it kind of looks like a crossbow. Definitely looks like a crossbow. Pursue unless prompted. Yeah, exactly. Because it just feels like a waste of time to pursue like too much. And usually it is. Usually you just get like a little bit of extra dialogue, and I'm already like, there's so much dialogue in this game. I don't. Come on. Some sort of lever here. That's definitely a crossbow. Yep, it's a crossbow. Somebody just had a straight up crossbow. Hey, that would explain why that man had a lesion in his chest. Oh, so that thing that we got, I don't think that was a screwdriver at all. It was weirdly shaped. What is this? But we also can't examine it. It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. Does he not know what crossbows were a thing back in... Wait. When were crossbows invented? Those had to have been around forever. 400 BCE. Yeah, no. Crossbows have been around forever. Maybe they just don't use them much. Japan. I don't know. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Okay, it's a crossbow. He knows it's a crossbow. Okay. Well, that's a good thing I unfolded that crossbow. It's a groove here. Must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. I was right. It's sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. It would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with a bowstring 2 times out of 3. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Kazuma in Kyoto archery training. Wow, I think that's cheating if you use a completely different, like, thing. Oh yeah, can I look at this? It's just black. It's like layers of thick canvas with thick rubber lining of sorts. Never seen anything like it before. But applying Mr. Sholm's methods, I deduced it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really, really didn't want to get wet. The charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Good job. Well, awesome. So yeah, he definitely has a wound, but there's no like bolt in there. Although I guess maybe it fell out afterwards. Because it was on the mesh. Details of the victim. Yeah. ODS man, male, 47, British. Okay. Hemorrhage of a wound in the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from impact. Yep. second is here. Wow. He's in the chest where he clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. Well, what was it, sir? You need to tell me what it is. The defense knew nothing of this crucial information. Prosecution received this report from forensic investigative team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense. Sarcastic and insincere, thanks. So, what was the nature of the sharp object? Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This. Oh yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver. See, when it counts, aha! There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew. What? Andrew, of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I named them all. You know, we're one big happy family. Andrew's my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank. Ah, that isn't... It's blood, beyond all reasonable doubt. No! And that's not all. The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound. What? Order, order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Okay. So one of the professor's tools is a murder weapon. Great. Yeah, that's pretty bloody. This is blood. Mr. Asmon's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. It really implicates the dude. I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the Kinesis machine. Could be important information, so I should definitely make note of it. Yeah. Because it was in the ground. It wasn't in his body, which was thrown very far away, apparently. He can kill before he went anywhere. Yeah. Hold it! How do you know that, though? What grounds do you have for saying that? Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people on the public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odiasman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. Furthermore, following the explosion and Kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on the stage with the victim could possibly have done it. Oh, is it time to pursue?
Excuse me.
Sir. Bonk. Professor Hairbrain, do you have some information that might be relevant here? Professor! Sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body. Witness stand is the best place for that. It seemed as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yes, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he? Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh? I don't know, but there's no way that I could have possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman, as you say. Eh? Explain, please, Professor. Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose, but humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins. I had heard. Then surely you see, if I'd plunged something the size of Andrew into this man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. Ah. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet, not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood. Well, no, I suppose not. You see, not one. True, I didn't see anything like that. Yeah. Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Good job. Order! No? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm skip all the parts where it's needless animation once again. Neglected to mention one crucial possibility. I have a particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Oh, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir. Where are they going with this? It probably because it acts as a stopper if it's just stuck in there. Very well, you will amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Gregson. The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air. Well, that's fucking impossible because it wasn't.
Objection!
Because it was on the grill underneath. And you found it there. You literally found it there. So there's no way it would have been with the body because the body was over there, you dumbass. You say that the weapon remains in the body. There's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? God damn it. Words. Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world. Yes, but about this screwdriver, the thing is we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage. What? It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Oh, well, now that you mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. It was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing. Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it? What are you getting at? If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. Ah! That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman and been found still lodged in the victim's chest. Roar! Order, order! How do you explain this, Inspector? I don't. Looks as though everything that the victim had on his person moved with him to where he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though the people here are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific possibility, we're still basing argument on the assumption that it did actually take place. All right, time to tighten the screws here. Ha 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 ha, because we're talking about a screwdriver. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied on. Lord Van Zeeks is stumped. Whoa! Bro, that's your voice? That's your voice? You sound worse than fucking Pain. Oh. You have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew it. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. What? Even if Andrews had been lodged into Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? What? Good job. Digging his own grave. Okay, he threw his would seem that your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation. I wish well. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with a scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Yeah. Witness testimony. Inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that Kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. Okay. So the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis. In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not a inconsistency. And therefore, my God, this judge. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrained could still have been the killer. My great hypothesis holds, you see. We had to make the cage used to contain the subject from wood for that very reason. I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrained. Yes? Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. This man, is he working for us or against us? It's hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine in this testimony, my Nipponese friend. Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo. The inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering. Oh, wait. But that's stupid, because this man definitely has metal on his glasses. Unless there's a plastic, and that button probably is metal too.
Objection!
Stop being dumb. Professor Harebrained, you say that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Asman is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. I don't know if the rim is a good term. It's more like a metal nose piece and also a dangly bit. What? Metal? No! Metal can't. That's not metal? No! Already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should have also predicted that the metal rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Ah! My hypothesis! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrained, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Oh, no! I don't like his hair physics. Order, order, order! Counsel, what is the implication of this? If, on the day in question, the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work. If I could say something here in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, juror number 4, go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science. What? Wait, great, Scott. Are you suggesting my science is suspect? It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. I mean, he's not lying. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined. No, never. She can't be stripped. Oh. It's protected, yeah. What the devil is that blasted act all about then, eh? Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Raise an objection.
Objection!
Professor Hairbrain has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so what? Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public, he would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. Ah! If the government was foolish enough to have deemed this man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed. Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? 10 pounds? Your order of magnitude out, madame. 500 pounds a year. Oh, you could live a handsome on for that for many years. Think of all the corn that I could eat. This person is just a straight-up child. Why are they here? The society noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. Plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder. I assure you, I have created piss. But now it's red again. No, I haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success. Barak. And therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed the murder is the accused. Oh, Barak, yeah, you dumbass. Where's this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? Whoa, what would be the nature of their involvement? They were spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition who were occupying special seats. Eyewitnesses? Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from the eyewitnesses to the incident. Prosecution stance is clear. This experiment was no postiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on the public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Yeah, because that was back in 1851. So yeah, it would be a ridiculous sum of money. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, the court is adjourned for 20 minutes. Is it 1890s? When I looked up the Great Exhibition, it was in 1851. So I thought that was more of the timeline, but... Court adjourned for 20 minutes. But I guess they could have just put it... I mean, they did say it was turn of the century, which I think would make more sense in the 1890s than in the 1850s, but, you know. Yeah. Trial part 1 and trial part 2 are going to go in the same video because that was actually only 45 minutes. Granted, I did skip some stuff, but I mean, why wouldn't I? They were saying a lot of nonsense. But yeah. All right, trial part 2. Everybody loves it. It's so great. So much fun. All these crazy characters. Mr. Naruhodo, what on earth were you playing at it just now? What on earth were you playing at all along? You're the one who's a dumbass. My amazing hypothesis. You've been picking holes at it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me. You said you'd prove the dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. All you've done so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But also I told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? Oh, but if I just run through some more equations, yes, you see, because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh, no! Yeah. You're right. You're so right. It's my fault, and I have no right to blame anyone. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barak? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend used to be, is a murderer, huh? You mean? He's a disaster. Yeah, as a human being. Oh, okay, you're saying. But no, wait, he's a Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. Glad that's cleared up, I guess. Can I double check something with you? Yes? What? Machine and demonstration you prepared. They were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe it. All right, Professor, I understand. Counsel, defendant. Okay, off we go. Prosecute. Yeah, make your way into here. Okay, thanks. On the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. Yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, So really, what should I be trying to prove here? His innocence. Leave it at that. It's the easiest thing to do. Yeah. In the name of Her Majesty and the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of the court. Counsel to the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? No, but fine. Prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes. Indeed, they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective, so the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. Detective of all people. Prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. And thank you, counsel. Prosecution's position is clear. So bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Or unequivocally. Who the hell? Oh, I know Ginny. I don't know anybody else. Why does that kid have a bandage on their head? Who the hell is that man with balloons? Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Lune. I am the impresario of the hot air balloons in vicinity of the Esperimento stage. Is he supposed to be Italian? Oh, you're German? Deutsch? Gina. My name is Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund Ormstein. I have come to see the Great Exposition all the way from my home in Bohemia. Okay. I'm very rich. Cool, great. Rich child. Just steal from him. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Erlock Sholmes agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got up to one of them balloons. It was amazing. Gina, again. She did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw the events unfold from the skies above. Don't make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low. Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can ya? 60 feet, about 18 meters then, which actually, yeah, that's really not that high. Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. It was an incidente terribile. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. There's a huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. And from amid the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower. Oh boy, it's weird having 3 different people with 3 very specific accents. 'Cause I'm pretty sure the guy on the left is supposed to be Italian. The one in the middle has like a Dutch accent, and then Gina, I just gave her, I'm pretty sure she's like Scottish or something. I basically gave her the same accent as Inspector Grayson, but with like a higher pitch. I'm so good at voices. Most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Can I just clarify something? I mean, technically, Yonosuke should have more of like a Japanese, like, intonation, or like English, I guess, as you would call it. But I can't do that, and I feel bad doing it, because it probably would sound like I'm just mocking him. There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Like a balloon. Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions. More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places. Yes. When the demonstration began, the balloons were carrying the 2 witnesses around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Bonk! Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. Just a Holmes reference? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of references that go over my head because I haven't read the literature, or it's been so long since I've seen something that I'm like, I don't know. The so-called birdcage that contained the victims disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred, directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witness. I won't deny it. The makers of this game certainly put a lot of effort into it. Unfortunately, a lot of that effort goes over people's heads because they may not have seen the stuff that it's talking about. So, but I mean, they do put a lot of work into it. Sometimes a little bit too much work, but that's fine. Second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon. Yeah. Oh, okay. The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower. I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. You gonna buy another balloon from him? Oh, God. Fucking, this, I hate this. I hate this so much. I still have lots of money. Cool. Precisely who is this curious infant with way too much money? I'm already annoyed. Like I said, one time, haha, that's kind of funny. Second time, okay, it's getting old. It's going to happen a third time. There's no way it won't. That's just how they do it. And even though I know that's how they do things, I still fucking hate it. Told he's a young noble of the Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition. Yeah, I am here in London on sightseeing trip via my elementary school. We'll have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. We really need that? When I remove my mask, this is what I look like. Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody says so. Great disguise then. Wow, this is a whole lot of pointless chatter. The point is the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. Okay. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Osman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord. Okay. Hold it! So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air? Yep. Isn't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer is a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything. We saw everything because we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into the cage and that dodgy professor pulling at them all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was a massive bang and the cage disappeared. Just like that. You're describing the moment when the subject's body was decomposed by the electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang right near me ear. Looked around and there was a huge great fireball before us. Right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing there before. How does this man still have 4 balloons? Didn't he's given balloons to this child? Hey, what's going on there?
Excuse me.
You're looking a little confused. Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school says that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name. Yes, what was that again? Wilhelm Gottreich Sigismund Ormstein. Can I kill a child? We just get rid of him? Just the 4 names then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps? Oi! Get it right, Odo! It's Inspector Lestrade. Does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? I will always question the balloon count. That is not what I saw. Oh? Yeah! There was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. But I'm sure... Which is what I said in it. 1 minute, there was nothing. There's a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Skip. I'm still very rich. Just before the second explosion happened, next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon? Oh. Eh? You what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it. And you can't say, "Did I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That is not allowed." Huh. And the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's Police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interests of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia. It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time. Hold it! Green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am sure. I am proud Bohemian Prince. All these questions are making me boring. Okay. I think you mean bored. Ugh, English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. My guy. I will have the army come and shoot all your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them. But for now, I brought that upon myself. Only all international incidents were resolved so easily. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However... Okay, so I kind of messed up on that. Because I was supposed to present the green fabric. Objection! Not, yeah. Surely something about that last statement seems odd, doesn't it? Oops. Oops, not that one. Oopsie, not that one. Okay, green cloth. Well, I guess now that the green cloth is there. Oh, because he says I'm grateful my balloons were not damaged, but now I have evidence that they were indeed damaged. Objection! What are you talking about, bro? Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they had been caught in the explosiones, it would have been terrible. Terribile? I'm wondering if you might know what this is? I think it may be. See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of the fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope? Pardon, that is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from a thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip when you are in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day. Eh? If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! Oh no, they all popped. Balloon exploded that day. Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent 10 whole pounds for the experience, how awful. Seems to me like those things crash 50% of the time anyway. Objection. I don't know who's talking. Everybody's talking. The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosions on the stage, the point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon. Yeah, they'll be fine. Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible. You don't even know half of what we're talking about, Judge. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. This I cannot accept! Why not, Mr. Loon? You are suggesting that I am a liar! The persons died in a balloon incident. There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it! Balthazar Lune is not a liar! There's no such balloon in the sky. It is non possible. You're saying it's impossible. Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day. Aye!
Objection!
Can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about the other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur. There's clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom beforehand. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibit. Okay. Oh, grazie, my lord. Yeah? Witness testimony. Okay, what do we got going on now? Okay, sorry, had to respond to something. Mr. Loon's balloons. As I said, Balthazar Luna is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosione, what a catastrophe. But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of the cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupid ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and the blue zigzag stripes anyway. But you don't have any greens at all? So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you. Si, exactamente. If he saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war. All out war. Oh, you can't say that. That word has a different meaning now. What happened to all out war? Mr. Lune certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and the evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Yeah, I am going to cross-examine. So mad. Also, it's really rude to call him that. I'm going to press that one. Hold it! You mean the color is wrong? Si, signor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been earlier that a balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente. As the signor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Then why would they leave it, like, on the ground? It makes no sense. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. Oh, he's very pissed.
Excuse me.
Hello? Something wrong? Gotts? It's Master Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein! It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia. can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. Oh, he lost a balloon again. If you do not have evidence, Ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide, yeah. Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Good gracious! What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot eel cellar, the balloon, and the instantaneous Kinesis experiment. Did you take a picture of that? Ja, one picture. Really, you did take one? But all I wanted was a ride in the balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon. Okay. Well, I see you're all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. Ah, that's a lot of dots. That is one very bohemian-sounding cry. I don't even know. Va, va! Very well. The court will accept this photograph as evidence. Photo taken by Gotts while he was riding a balloon. Shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took this shot. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Yeah, well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. Any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. It's not black and white, it's sepia-toned. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. This guy sucks. They all suck. As I thought, Mr. Luna's testimony doesn't quite add up. Young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon, but Mr. Luna vehemently denies the possibility. It's hard to imagine the man in charge would be mistaken about the number that were in the air. I don't know, unless he has something to hide. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. There are clearly 0 passengers there. Okay, I see man in stage. It's pointing the right way there, too. There's definitely nobody in there unless they're hiding. Hey, it's our friend over there, Mr. Albert, and then that guy. No. He doesn't look particularly stabbed, but it's kind of hard to tell. Objection! Excuse me, sir. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Ah, my goodness, you're right, but surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. or contraband, which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing. Niente. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine. Well, then who else is there? You got to know the competitor to your balloons, because otherwise, there are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Lune's patch without him realizing. See, the competition, trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below. Right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. Mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case. Relevance does elude me, I must say. The courts have seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Wow. Looks like they're not interested. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up and not in our favor. Are they? They don't seem like they know what the hell's going on. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there something more we can learn from it? There's more, because why would I say there's nothing else? That ends the trial, I'm sure. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait, please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gotts may well be hiding in one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now. So tell the court, what exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? Because of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Yeah, that's right, yeah! It was not my fault. Evidently, because the birdcage from the Kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have, in a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... it's this man! No, sorry, it's that.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort, because you're blind. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. Goodness, what is that? I don't know, comet? Bro? Undeniably, some flash of light, yes. Oh, golly, do you think it might be lightning? No. I mean, I know these were different times. You can't be that dumb, right? But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire. A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon like an arrow. Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word! Are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at that time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height unless it was shot out of a fucking crossbow.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly how that should happen. Dun, dun, dun. What evidence? Well, this evidence that I found. If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. A crossbow. I found this. This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. I'm telling you right now, it wasn't hidden at all. It was just on the ground in front of the tree. They could have at least tried to, like, have it kind of sort of be hidden. I mean, considering how much they make you jump over hoops for some of this evidence, it was just out there. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately? Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it? Then the explosione of the balloon, it was very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside of it. No! Let's leave the crossbow. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looked like it was small enough he could have strapped it to his back. Order, order, counsel. This is an extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off at the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic. But with the big explosione, there was a very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? I don't think I'm your friend. If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... What? Wait a minute. What you're really saying is here... I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up in the sky after all, or what? My goodness me. Yeah, friends in occupation. Ah, now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, counsel? There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous Kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. Bonk. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. Objection! Imagine the arrow missed. Yeah, that would suck for somebody. This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous Kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman, and having this other man appear on stage in front of the show as a body double. Yes, of course. So, in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside of it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mix ratio. Juror number 4. Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, by controlling the gas mixture ratio, explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio? Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent to render this whole obscene charade impossible. You hear that? So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all a part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. Ugh. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Arrgh! This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Hairbrain is a suspect now. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor, but you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Hairbrain? I, Albert Hairbrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odious Man. Yes, it was me with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing? Yeah. Order. See, this is the kind of shit I hate in this game. They're like, well, we just got to make it extra dramatic. We're not even halfway through episode 3 now. Defendant, explain this sudden confession. Professor Hairbrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but didn't actually build it. Quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. Barack! Oh, if you there's something I can prove. Oh, yeah. Yes? I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So, please, ensure that the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. Pray forgive the discourtesies. I don't fucking care. You always say that. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? In his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in light of the accused's confession. Yeah. Yeah. You intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment that you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the will cease to apply. Prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. I'm sorry, but however, if you you know this machine is genuine instrument for murder, then it'll crush his hypothesis. Well, counsel, what's the matter? Because all my options suck. That's what's the matter. Jerks. What Professor Harebrayne, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. There's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't that your trade, my side? Shut up. Rude. Mr. Naruhodo, there's no escape here. I have no choice. It's impossible. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that it was a conjuring trick. Because, come on, I have to protect him. But, I mean, I know this is one of those stupid dramatic moments, so something's going to happen. Arrgh! No, I can't say it. My client placed his face. No matter what, it's just, what must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's, what can I protect? Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. Oh, hi, Susato. Welcome, I guess. Where have you been this whole time? Susato-san! But what are you? Hiya! I'm flipping you. Bonk. Cool. Awesome. My first Susato takedown in 6 months. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Now, why'd you throw me? Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. My spine! Professor Harebrayne. Yes? Yesterday you told me the science is in the pursuit of truth. Or is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too, but in a different way. Yes, of course. Yeah. Personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself, too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Arrgh! So you finally opened your eyes, yeah. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Barak. Lord Van Zeeks. Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. Here, Paul, in truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. Out of his choice, yeah. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? Cool, you just remembered that now. How fucking convenient. Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Tall, taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me, too. A monocle, rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? Oh, no. He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Osman introduced me to him a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. What on earth is he? I'm afraid that isn't the first tale of his nature I've heard in scientific circles in connection with the name. Talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but strange trickery at the end. Obviously, the rascal was after the government's research grant money. When the magicians are in need of money, magicians are in need of money. I've heard them resorting to these underhanded tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with the experiences of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with unparalleled competence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Okay. So it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion. Yeah. This is the first time the jury hasn't immediately pushed out a guilty verdict and then swapped around. They haven't done much of anything, but they're at least talking. Considering that we just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. And I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found out to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. And I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? Not the true nature of the machine that was built and the true nature of Mr. Drebber. Oh. Yeah, I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. That sounds exactly right, actually. That's what I was thinking too, like, part of the way in. Because if he got the grant money, he could just kind of, yeah. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Act? I'm not even going to say the whole thing. I hate saying that whole thing. Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry. Good. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord? The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber. Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord. Yeah. Well, when we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence. The defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until later. Okay. Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, yes. Nah, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trust me. I dragged you to my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I don't know. She lied. I'm so sorry. At least he apologized. Really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing? Naturally. That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and my dreams. I had complete faith in it. All right, in that case, I won't say anymore. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. We got to do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. Okay, is that it? No. Well, I guess we gotta be like, Cesaro's back, yay! So sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard? I hid it from you, Runo, so it would be a surprise. Fuck you, Iris. Well, did it work? Okay, well, I have 2 children I have to kill today. I was surprised, all right, especially when she threw me to the ground. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out. Maybe we should stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future. Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made this coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. That's animal abuse. You're terrible people. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Oh, having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So I'm delighted to see you back in London. Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course. So what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest? Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? Sure. You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. Cool. Suzato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. To be continued. My God, I hate the fact that this took an hour and 15 minutes less than the investigation stage. That investigation stage is just dragged. That just dragged. All right. I guess. There was still so much fluff in it, though. All right. That's it for today, though. We're done. I'm burnt out. Like, oh God. Yay, Cesato's back. We figured some stuff out. The whole thing was a sham. The instantaneous kinesis is not a thing. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, no. We made it through that at least. And next time we'll do the second part of the investigation and the next leg of the trial, and then it'll be on to the 4th, which is really the 4th and 5th. They might as well have it looks like they should have just made them one large chapter, the way it's split up. But yeah, well, we might get started on it depending on how fast the second investigation and trial bits take. But yeah, very good.